Hello and welcome to level 147 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with both takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy, here with my compadre, David.
What up?
What up? How was your evening?
My evening was good. Um, we haven't talked since holiday.
Mhm.
That was good. We had our first Friendsgiving here, slash, it was a birthday
Ah.
party for one of Emily's friends.
Hmm.
So we didn't do like our friends, we did his friends,
Hmm.
so that's why you weren't invited. It's okay.
Hey,
I
no
still feel
offense.
for you.
No
All
offense
right.
taken.
All right. And we, Emily mostly, like 95%. I just kind of stood there and looked cute. Made the turkey for the first time this year, and it turned out really, really good. It
Nice.
it wasn't, dry. It was, white meat is dry, but it wasn't like this was overcooked.
Right.
It was like she used a lot of butter because that's what the recipe said,
Oh yeah.
and it worked. It worked. It was really good. We had a great night
Now, how was it? Was
after
it
a long
a was it
weekend.
a was it like a properly like traditionally presented turkey where it's kind of like got the whole presentation? It kind of lays there very loud and proud. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like that type of thing.
whole
Okay,
shebang.
okay, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Was there any like was it kind of like was it like a Norman Rockwell painting? Was there any kind of like garnishings of kale on the outside of it or anything like that?
actually,
Or
yeah. So the recipe, we put in thyme, sage, and rosemary on the inside, and then
nice.
rosemary and thyme on the skin. Not
Okay.
rose because they said that a rose is kind of like overpowering,
Hmm.
so we didn't do that one on the outside, just on the inside.
Okay.
So yeah, and
Nice.
then in the pan I had celery and carrots and onions.
Okay. Very nice. Very
It's very
nice.
nice. It was very nice. We're like, oh my god, we're adults. We're adulting.
I know. It's weird when that
It's
happens.
weird. It's
Yeah,
weird. It's like
it is
it's like a
weird.
step in, like, I find it so awesome that you can still have these like steps, milestones in your life, no matter how old you are.
Yeah,
Even if it's as little as cooking your first turkey.
yeah, yeah. I have to combat feelings of adulthood because whenever I do something that's very adulty, the first thing that unfortunately, the first thing that pops into my mind is this is death. This is what the path. This is what the path to death looks like, right? And so
Yeah.
I have to be like, no, no, this is actually, it's cool when you can like, do things that are like very adulty and independent, and then, you realize that you're like that you're supposed to be the adults in the room now, and that comes with a lot of anxiety, but it also can be empowering if you frame it the right way. So,
Right.
yeah, yeah, that sounds great. I mean, and everyone, good time, great festivities, lots of joy, lots of happiness. That's
Yeah.
the aim of
Yeah.
Friendsgiving, right?
It,
It's supposed to be like you don't have the conflict of family, with Friendsgiving. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
It is your chosen, right? You have your born family, and then you have your chosen family. And this is you choosing,
Yes.
your family.
Yes.
So it's supposed to have a
hmm
little bit less conflict there.
Yeah. A funny story. Uh, Somebody that I didn't meet yet of his friends. They kind of we were in the dining room in the back,
Hmm.
and the guy like walked in. We're like, somebody's here. So I got up and looked down the kitchen, and it was somebody's holding stuff. They're like, who is it? I was like, I have no idea, but he looks like he's supposed to be here. So
Yeah.
whatever. And they're like, you're just so chill about a random person walking in your house. But how was your day and your holiday?
Yeah, well, holiday was nice and chill. It was just my partner, my fiance, my mom, and myself. And so, I mean, they went down on the sides, they whipped it up, you know what I'm saying? And then I was
hmm Oh, I
responsible for
saw
the
your pictures.
protein. Yeah, so I did just chicken, not chicken, just turkey wings and turkey breasts. So I kind of saved myself from too much bird.
hmm
So I did a thing where I smoked them for about 2-ish hours and then deep fried them.
Oh,
So that was really, it
that
was
sounds
fantastic.
so good.
Yeah, yeah, it was fantastic. just the skin crisps up for you. It's real nice and crunchy. I had brined them for I think about 15 or 16 hours the night, like overnight. So
Okay.
they had all the flavor in them, and that was great. And then my fiance does just a crazy mac and cheese. She does a white mac and cheese,
Oh,
a
I
little
need
bit of
this in my life, by the way,
a
just so
little bit
you
of
know.
kick on it. Okay, I'll let her know. It has a little kick in it. It's
Spicy.
savory.
Oh, this may
Oh,
be heaven for me.
it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I
Favorite
think
food,
I've
mac and cheese.
and I've told her this before. Like there is, you know, we've been going out for a while. We're engaged now.
Hmm.
There is a I don't know. There is expectations of who makes the macaroni and cheese in a black family, right? It is judged. It is judged critically. You can't just
I
walk
can
in and
see it.
just make
I
any
can
kind of
see it.
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now my partner, I mean, obviously she likes her mac and cheese, but she's also a fan of like the crafts. There's been times where she's like, I want some mac and cheese. I'm gonna go out get a box. It's a like a SpongeBob craft mac and cheese. Like this is insane. Okay, like this is one of those things where I'm like, you are an adult. We
You,
don't have to do
you
everything, but we don't have to do this. You know what I'm saying?
at least get
Um,
Stofers.
yeah. But oh yeah, so her mac and cheese is fantastic. She has
That's awesome.
a sweet potatoes, like a yams dish from her grandmother that she makes that just is fire. It gets better every day after. So
It's
yeah,
with the age, the adulting.
yeah, yeah. So it went very good. As far as my day is gone, my day has been all right. Been busy trying to wrap up some stuff, work stuff. I can't believe it feels like this week is blown by. So, but yeah, it's been all right. It's been all right.
Nice. I
Yeah,
I have one question.
yeah,
I know we'll get to games eventually, people. We'll
for
get
sure.
there.
They ain't going
But
nowhere.
you said you brined the meat for like
Yeah.
16 hours.
Hmm.
What is the difference between brining and marinating?
It's a good question. I don't technically know. Um,
Okay. Okay.
they're of the same ancestry, right? Like a wet brining versus a marinade versus a dry brining. So,
Got it.
my thinking is that brines typically contain more salt, where marinades may not, and it also may be a difference in regards to like I guess length. You might marinate things for less time than you actually brine them.
Okay.
Um, so that's another possibility, but they're functionally the same. You have a bunch of wet ingredients, you smother the meat in it, and you let it sit in it for a while, and then hopefully all the flavors saturate into it, and you take it out, and it's moist and it's flavorful. That's like the hope of it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, there's been like a lot of things where I've started, well, mostly with like chicken is where I've mostly
Hmm.
like really started brining things. Other things I make, like ribs, you don't really have to brine ribs. Pulled pork or a pork shoulder, if you want to do that, you're insane if you brine pork shoulder. Um, because it's so much fat in there, it doesn't need it. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So the
Yeah.
whole point of brining is flavor, but as well as moisture. So
Got
um
it.
yeah, but that's what I did. I'll probably do the same thing next year. Turned out really good. So
Heck yeah,
um
dude.
yeah, yeah. Ladies and
All
gentlemen,
right.
chickens, ducks,
Yeah.
and hens. We
Oh
hope you had a
man.
fantastic holiday, and we hope that you had a fantastic day. And hopefully, you got some good food. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you got some of that nice kind of Norman Rockwell-ish type turkey that M whipped up, or what I'm saying? Maybe know a crazy person that decided to just deep fry a whole turkey inside their house and possibly burn through their floor and subfloor. I've seen
Dude,
those
that's what
videos.
scares me about uh deep frying them. I see those
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah,
Crazy.
here's it. All you have to do to avoid that, and I mean this with like with all genuinely, it's just not be kind of an idiot. You can avoid it, okay? Because all you have to do, there's one test where you have like, hey, it's before you fill it with oil, fill it with water.
Yeah, the
Dip your
volume.
turkey in there, see how it displaces the volume, right?
Exactly. I was
You can also like kind of eye it if you want, because even if it's a little low, if it covers half your bird, you can kind of flip it around and then just deep fry the other half for the same amount of time if you want. If you want to be really, really, really careful about it, right? But I mean,
Right.
I'm talking the ones you mostly see is like they just fill it and then they just send it. And if you do that with anything, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
If you don't do any kind of pre-study, you're going to have a bad time. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yep.
You just can't. You just can't go. You just can't get it and rip it. You can't do that.
No.
Especially don't do that inside your house. Everyone, don't do that inside your house. That's insanity. If it's 14 degrees out, deep fry your turkey in 14-degree weather. Do
It's
not
worth it.
burn your home down for turkey. For the worst meat. Turkey is inarguably one of the worst meats. Do not burn your house down for the worst meat. You want to burn it for a brisket? I get you. You want to burn it for a filet mignon? I get it. Turkey? Nah. You gotta think better. All right. Well, with that out the way, with our cooking lessons, our cooking corner out of the way, we're going to talk about some games.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, by the
corner.
way.
We should start a cooking corner.
There we go.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some games. Specifically, first we'll talk about, as we always do, the games that we're playing.
Yeah.
So, I can offer to go first. I have 2 games that I have been playing.
2?
I have 2.
Let's go. Let's hear.
So the first one that I will say, because I don't know if I'm done playing it again, is Ghost of Yotei. Because
okay.
I was done playing. I beat it, right?
Right.
And then I said, well, I'm gonna go back because I want to platinum it.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up platinuming it. I had
okay, awesome.
I had that week of I took that week of Thanksgiving off, like a few days off of that week.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent that week trying to platinum Ghost of Yotei. And it was a little bit frustrating and a little annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I eventually did it.
That's awesome.
So I platinumed it. That's how I then discovered that is the only game I've ever platinumed on my PlayStation. So that was a surprise. Dang. I'm like, oh, I don't have any other platinums. This is the only one. And I remember this specifically. The original Ghost of Yotei has 54 trophies. Mm-hmm. And the week that I platinumed it, that week is the same week that they released a new update for the game that included the new game plus. So I had, for maybe about 10 hours, I had all 54 trophies. And then they added 2 for the new game plus. So now I have 54 out of 56. I still have the platinum, but I don't have all the trophies. And one of the other trophies, I got one that they added. You just have to buy it from a new merchant and buy something from a new merchant. But the other the other trophy, which is a silver, is that you have to beat the game again in New Game Plus. So it's asking for another 20 hours from me. And I don't know if I got it. Because
it's not right now.
Yeah, the plan was that I would actually go back and play Ghost of Tsushima. And then my fiance would play Ghost of Tsushima, and we'd kind of do maybe a little kind of cool special 3-4 part Ghost mini series, kind of like bonus content for the podcast.
Right. Yeah, that'd be cool.
So I think that I'm gonna rip myself away from Yotei, go to Tsushima, start playing that again. But I did play a fair amount of that, more than I actually would have liked to get that platinum. So I've been playing that. The other game that I've played a little bit of is a game called Where Wind Meets. I'm not sure if you've heard about this game.
Where Wind Meets? No, I haven't.
It is I want to say it's an online RPG, a co-op. You can possibly do co-op. It's like a shared world. But it's basically like you're kind of like I don't know the entire story. You were taken as a baby by this guy that you call your uncle, and you grow up to be a warrior, and now you're trying to be a warrior and do warrior stuff. It takes place in ancient China. There's a little bit of mysticism in it. I was talking with my cousin about it, and he's been playing it a lot, and he says that it feels very similar to like Black Myth Wukong in regards to how it plays. I've played a little bit. I've been playing it. I don't have that reference because I never played Black Myth Wukong. I've just been playing this. But I've been playing it a little. So yeah, it's basically like one of these Chinese online co-op RPGs. I know published. I'm not sure if it's developed by NetEase. And NetEase is
Marvel
Pokemon
Rivals.
Marvel Rivals. Is it Pokemon Go as well? I think. Or am I thinking about someone else?
They did just get bought out. Pokemon Go. But I don't know what company bought it. I don't think it was NetEase. But I mean, it might be.
Um, okay, yeah. I think it was at one point. I think they collaborated with it, but yeah,
Okay.
NetEase makes a bunch of kind of like online live service games, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
that's one of their other big games that they've put out. It's been getting a lot of traction. It's pretty good for what it is been the general sentiment.
Hmm.
So I've been playing it, but I've been kind of struggling to get into it. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more time to see if it grows, but I'm kind of struggling to really get invested with how much it plays and how it introduces systems and the pace of which it introduces systems. Like it's a lot of info dump in the first, you know, 7-10 minutes. And
Right.
so you're like, okay, well, like I wish it would. It felt like it introduced these systems more organically, but it doesn't. So I've been trying to play that. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, I've been trying to play that, and then I played a little bit of Poly Bridge 2. So I've actually kind of been playing 2.5 ish
Hmm.
games. I played a little bit of that. I wanted to get a game to play on my Steam Deck,
Hmm.
and so I was playing it on my Steam Deck. Does not play well on the Steam Deck, so I refunded it. So I'm not playing that game no more.
Okay.
So I'll find something else to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a bunch of games on my wish list on sale that I probably shouldn't buy, but will buy because they're on sale. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that's pretty much it for what I've been playing.
All right. All right. Nice. What I've been playing a little TFT. A new season came out. The most characters that you could choose from are in this season. It's usually, if I remember correctly, reading from Reddit because the creators like post in there, or at least
Hmm.
one of the people that work on it are in
Hmm.
there. And the average set is usually about like 60 something, 67, 70 like characters. But in
Hmm.
this one, there's 100 characters. So that's an
Mm.
extra 30 people to choose from.
Yeah.
But they did this cool thing, in my opinion. It could be not cool for some people, where some of those characters you can't buy them unless you unlock them by doing something, which they've never had an unlock feature for characters in this game before, to my
Okay.
knowledge.
Yeah.
So now, like, it's based on the different kinds of teams, like Juggernaut and Bastion and whatever. So if this character is a level 3 because it goes from level 1 to level 5, how much they cost and how good they are.
Hmm.
So in order to unlock this level 3, you have to have a level 1 and a level 2 Bastion out for 3 rounds, right?
Hmm.
It's easy stuff to unlock them, but you don't get uh because every time you like select characters to buy, you only get 5 choices, and then you have to spend 2 gold to refresh it. So these extra 30 characters are not going to fill up your roster when you're looking for a certain character.
Hmm.
So they only unlock and only get in there when you're looking for them. So I think that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
And then I've been playing a lot of Fragpunk. I hit Diamond, but that's all I can do. My game sense is there. Like I do get like kills and stuff like that, but I get
Hmm.
surprised by a lot of stuff. A lot of people know all the angles from spawn,
Mm.
shooting grenades and stuff like that. So like I need to learn that.
Yeah.
So I think I can hit the next prestige up after Diamond. I don't know what it is in this game,
Hmm.
but I think it's going to take me another season of playing to really understand all the levels. But I also just realized the other day that that is also a NetEase game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So I was like, oh, okay. So they have half my life right now because it's
making
either, well,
making
actually,
waves.
it's like 3 quarters of my life because I'm either on Frightpunk or Marvel Rivals, and then sometimes I'll play Apex because it still has Wildcard on there.
Ah, yeah.
But that's what I've been playing.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. Alrighty. Well, we got we've kind of like develop our usual suspects. I'm kind of like I feel like I'm almost kind of like where you were the typical you had like your two rotation of like just like Apex and then what was
Mhm.
it? Like at one point it was either Apex or
Yeah, it's
oh
Apex,
man.
Overwatch, or Dead by Daylight.
Uh um what was the other one? There was
Oh,
one
the
other one,
finals.
the finals. There you go. Yeah. There was a little time where it was just like Apex finals, Apex finals. That was it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I've been trying to break out of the just Yote thing and like what else can I find? And
Hmm.
so,
At least you're trying. You got
I
that one game.
tried.
You're like,
I'm
refund. But hey, you tried.
Yeah, yeah,
You
no.
put in that
And
effort.
it's probably not going to be where one meets either,
I'm
unfortunately.
scared. I'm scared of
Uh,
that effort. The only reason I played Frank Punk is because my son was like, "Hey, can you play this game with me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure."
yeah,
I never would have downloaded it on my own.
yeah.
So sometimes you need that push. But yeah, see, you you're out here doing things.
Out here trying. Yeah, we'll see what the next level brings us.
Yeah.
Um, alrighty, well, with our games out of the way, we're headed into our topic. And we got a big one. This one is um obviously game influenced, game related, but it kind of impacts a lot of different things. Um, and so I don't know, David, I don't know if you want to introduce this topic or if you want me to, because this is originally something that you had discovered and brought up, and I had to kind of do like some preliminary research to get myself associated
Right. Yeah,
with what
I'll
we're
just do
facing here.
a quick, too long, didn't read. So essentially, Sony, and then you inform me, other companies as well, are going to the Supreme Court in a case saying, hey, if people are fraudulently doing stuff like pirating our games with Sony, for example, you know, you internet people, companies, you should be banning their like IPs from the internet entirely.
Hmm. Yeah,
And that is so far of an overreach is crazy.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting stuff. So they have here, I was looking at this article from Slate. So the court case, and I don't know if this happened already because this article is dated November 28th. So I'm not sure exactly what has happened with it. That
Hmm.
would probably be this past Monday, then this first. I don't know what happened exactly. But this original kind of court case is with Cox Communications and Sony Music. And what they're kind of alleging is that, or what Sony is fighting for is the idea of like, hey, if you have someone who's an internet customer of yours and they've illegally downloaded music, we want you to basically terminate their internet access, terminate access from their IP address. And the idea is that, like, again, this involves Sony. Now we've talked about Sony Computer Entertainment, Sony Computer Games. Sony has always traditionally done some pretty anti-consumer things. So the fact that Sony's at the center of this in any capacity is not surprising at all. Sony
Correct.
Music, I think, is known to be pretty disgusting. I think it's like Sony Music, Universal Music Group, like UMG, like these are known to be terrible uh companies to deal with. Um but the idea is that obviously like Sony Music Entertainment can be replaced and interchanged with any one of these companies that create digital media of which we then participate in and buy. Remember, we do not own it because we buy licenses. We do not buy the actual games. That is their whole
Hmm. That's
consideration of things. And
yep.
the argument has been made that, well, if we do not own it, then we can't steal it. So pirating shouldn't be illegal because we aren't stealing
Exactly. That's
anything.
using their literal own words.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so we kind of talked about like you were saying, like the massive overreach of that and what that can mean for like for gaming, for instance. So this brought up kind of an interesting thought that I was having in regards to like how we engage with PC gaming, because I don't know about you, but at least I feel like when I buy a PC game, whether it's through Steam or GOG, um, that I, for some reason, innately feel like I have more ownership of that game compared to when I buy it from PlayStation. I buy a digital game from PlayStation or Xbox or something like that. That's that could partially be just the normalcy of the normalization that Steam has made of just owning digital games
Hmm.
strictly. Where
Right.
with these console games, we still have the familiarity with buying physical copies, even though digital buying is, increasing ever so much as well. But I kind of feel that. So my thought was like, well, what if there's, for instance, and this is an easy possibility, and with a lot of with some developers, most of them, this may not be easy, but let's take a developer. publisher that I think would have no problem doing something like this. There's a couple. But let's start with the easy bad guy, which is Electronic Arts. You know, Electronic Arts recently had that buyout where they were bought privately by a Saudi investment firm. And I
Mhm.
think I read in some article that when it's all said and done, the buyout will mean that this consortium owns about 94 to 95% of EA. So basically total ownership of it. And I think about there's been, I'm not sure if you're like really into comedy or anything like that, but for the past
Yeah.
month and a half, there's been a hubbub about a lot of comedians went to do this comedy festival in
Yep.
Saudi Arabia, the
Yep.
Riyadh Comedy Festival, right? And a lot of and they had to sign documentation that restricted them from talking about certain figures, talking about religion, certain things that this government decided that they don't want them to talk about. And all these people, they did it because they want the bag. Rich people just do things for money.
Hmm.
But the idea is like, how can that then translate into the threat of all this stuff we're seeing here? And the idea is that, well, if you have people that are possibly Saudi family, the crown that is involved in some kind of ownership tie tangibly with this, I don't see a situation where they wouldn't be. Um, that, for instance, if you have a game or if you have players that in some ways are expressing thoughts or ideals that do not align with the socio-political ideas of said investment company or whatever, that they then the owners of EA could tell EA to say, hey, go to Comcast or go to Cox Communications or anyone else, and we've identified these 7 players as people who constantly express sentiment that is opposed to our beliefs. We want you to terminate their internet access, right? Um, that is like the thing of where people say, hey, like it's kind of a thing of where people say that's a long slope. There's a slip. We're not going to get there. That's a little bit too extreme. And I would say to them, take stock of what we said wasn't possible and what has come about over the past 5 to 7 years. The different kind of rights or freedoms or liberties we have that are being infringed on for the sake of capitalism, and for lack of a better word, right? And I think this could kind of give that same thing. And this is a concern, obviously for gamers, because gaming and communications around gaming is very unique. And the fact that it is very liberal. And by that I mean like people pretty much say whatever the heck they want to say. There's not a lot of censoring on behalf of the people that are playing the games. It's mostly these companies doing it, right? But
Right.
like this can materialize in a bunch of different ways. So like for instance, something that may hit here, right, is that you were banned from Overwatch 2.
Hmm.
Now imagine if whoever owned it at Activision Blizzard said, "Hey, I know that we've been sexually harassing women at our company, but skip that. This guy right here has been saying really, really mean things to Timothy. And Comcast or AT&T, whoever you are, we want you to take internet access. Internet access. Not just, again, like we can't, like you can't operate or interact with the exact venue, but you can't interact with anything on the internet. We want you to do that as a
Right.
means of satisfying us until they pay their sentence or penance somehow, which is more than likely money, right? This is
Yes.
it's all a play of control of power and money to just extract more money from us, and have more control. Like this is the kind of thing we're talking about that this suit alludes to, I think, in some ways that can be really concerning, you know. So as
Very.
gamers, we have to be on top of this. We have to really think about it, and be aware of it.
Yeah, I agree. And what I was gonna say, everybody knows somebody that has gotten a game that wasn't through proper means, right? But
Yes.
whatever. They've gone so far away from physical stuff. People used to borrow people's games all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I borrow a game, sit there, play it 2, 3. The only reason I even got to see, play, and be a part of The Last of Us Part 2 is because somebody let me borrow their PS4 and their game.
Yeah.
Right? Sony got none of my money for me to enjoy those 50 hours of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
And
somebody,
they're pissed about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, oh, you let a friend play, that's an extra $5.
yeah.
You know, when's that gonna come out? Eventually. Us
Hmm.
remind me, 10 years. Anyways, yeah, this is just a stepping stone. They're throwing their arm out and seeing how far it can go before we're like, no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, you step, even if it's one step a year, a month, a week, whatever it is, one step
Hmm.
is just one step closer to what
Yeah,
they want. And if you keep letting them take those steps, eventually there's going to be no steps to take and you're going to have no steps to follow behind
yeah.
because you're
It's
just going to
gonna,
fall
yeah,
off the cliff.
exactly. It's gonna be here, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Everything's gonna have been built up to where you can't roll it back. You can't
Exactly.
dismantle it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yes.
still now to where we can still break what they're trying to build towards down. Um, yeah, you're totally right. It used to be back in the day you could borrow someone's game and play it. Or remember back in the day they used to have this thing called, and I know they still do it to some extent, but they used to have these things called demos. It seemed like almost every game would come with or have a demo that you could actually play and
Yeah.
try before you
Yeah.
bought the game,
That's why I
right?
found Amplitude. I put hours into that demo.
Yeah. It's weird that video games really seems to be the kind of only large medium that like doesn't allow you to do that. I guess movies to some extent too. But if you go to buy a car, you can test drive the car. If you go to get furniture, you can test the furniture. If you want to even go buy a house, you can walk through the house. But
Right.
for a video game, unless they offer demos, which become increasingly rare, except for smaller indie and independent developers and publishers, it's a hey, here's a 2 minute trailer that lies about everything the game is going to be, and then you pre-order it, and then you get it, and then just be mad and give us money,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we never work on the game, right? Um, I mean, the most infamous like example of like a trailer line would be like the original Watch Dogs trailer, where the subsequent game didn't look anything like Watch Dogs, and even I think the Witcher trailer had a little bit of that too. So we're gonna show you a lie, a full on, full blown, full ass lie, and then you will buy it, and then that's it. And then especially because they want you to buy everything digitally, because again, it just allows them more control. They aren't as locked into material costs and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a pain for you to actually go through the process of like getting your refund. They've made some of that easier now. Now it's like, hey, you can play the game for 2 hours, and then you gotta, then you can't get a refund anymore. Rather than possibly then supplying, I don't know, a 2 hour demo. You want to know how good demos work? I'll tell you how good demos work. There's a little game that came out a couple of years ago called Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
talking to someone that had no interest in ever playing a Final Fantasy game. And then Corey recommended I play the demo. And I played the demo. And I'm like, this game go hard as hell. I'm gonna buy it right now.
This game go hard. Yeah, that's
And I
right.
went
That's
and bought
right.
a $70 game. That's how
Because
demos can
of
work. Because
a demo.
of a demo. Right? Like access to your game to allow me to get used to it, right?
Right.
Um, but these companies don't want to have any means of letting the consumer inform themselves beyond just what they want to present and show to them, and then they expect you to just abide, and there not be any backlash of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
when in my younger years, were there games that I pirated? Sure. Actually, you want to know what? I'll admit to a game that I pirated. You want to know what game that I pirated? I'll admit to this now. I pirated a game called Game Dev Tycoon. Now, you might have heard me talk about playing this game before. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because I bought it, right? I pirated the game because I was interested in it and I couldn't really afford to get it at the time, but I wanted to support them because I enjoyed the game. So once I could afford it, I stopped playing the pirated version and I bought the real one. And I've been playing that one ever since. I don't even remember where the pirated one is. I don't even know what computer it's on. It's probably destroyed itself, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm saying is like they can't, they look at piracy simply as just it's stealing and it's nothing else, right? But they're not allowing us other avenues to do other things. And the idea is that broke college kid wanting to play a nice, cool little indie game. The developers could say, hey, they pirated our game. Yeah, our game is like, I don't know. Hey, it wasn't even that expensive at the time, right? But that shows how broke I was. And they're like,
Right.
hey, this is ridiculous. Take away their internet access. Oh, so now I can't access sites to do research for class. I
Can't
can't,
pay your bills.
I can't pay my bills or do anything. Like that's an absurd, it's an absurd overreach. But also think about how much of a maniac you have to be like, oh, this is the requisite, this is the right thing to do. Like, brother, if there's out there, I'm guessing Sony Music is like, I don't know exactly. I'm guessing Sony Music is like, hey, there's some clown out here downloading thousands of dollars in Taylor Swift songs. Sue them then. Like get that person and say, hey, you owe Tay a bag and sue them. But the idea is like, no, because they'll just keep doing it. So we want you to ban their internet access. We don't want them to be able to access anything. Okay. Maybe they got to go. Maybe they have some kind of medical records online. Not no mores because you you illegally downloaded a Three Doors Down song. So you can't do this anymore. Okay. It's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea. It's ridiculous overreach. I don't know what the decision of it was or will be, but this is obviously a thing that can hop up and affect gamers because I feel like there is more of a each different kind of area or audience has a different type of spirit, for lack of a better words, and gamers have innately rebellious spirits. I feel like a lot of gamers, like
that's a lot of the games.
You're
playing as the rebellion.
Right? Exactly. You're fighting the system. So I could see this going a strange way where you have Sony computers. Sony Music's already on it. You know, Sony computers like, oh, they found another way to exploit people. Great, excellent. Let's get on that. Let's spend millions of dollars on research and development.
Go down that avenue.
Yeah, you've got you've got the ultra villain, and then you've got the smaller villain. Nintendo's right there, like, oh, you guys found a new way? Oh, we're gonna wait for you guys to figure that out, and then we'll be right here.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft's over there like, please, some pennies, sir. Please, some pennies. You know what I'm saying? They'll eventually, it seems like they're going down the same way if they can last long enough to become the villain. But yeah, it spells a lot of issues. And I thought about that too, like with Steam. You know, it's just a concern, right? You don't feel like you really own the games anymore. And games have become exponentially more expensive. Gaming has become an expensive hobby where it wasn't supposed to be. You're pricing this out, and then we get a little bit, somebody gets a little desperate. They want to try something they're really interested in, but they don't have the money right then and there. You don't allow them a way to figure it out or try it unless buying it. And then if they download it, they find a way to get their hands on it. They have to rush. They have to risk downloading spyware from Russia or wherever the hell this thing's being hosted at. And then you're like, oh, no internet too. It's kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah. Because like, say this goes through and then like, oh, I caught this guy, ban him, and then you have no internet. Now you have to go to your friend's house 3 doors down.
Yeah. I like it. Nice science. Yeah. You got it. Yeah. You're going to like, oh man, I really wanted to get a session of PUBG in. And then your friends first like, oh, you still play PUBG? And then they're like, yeah, can I come to your house and play some PUBG? And they're like, yeah, sure. You know, like you got to do that whole thing because, you know, you did something that's quote unquote pirated. I don't know if they have, I haven't looked at any documentation. I'm not even sure what their specifics of defining pirating is. Could be a little bit different than what we think because these companies usually try to find every single way to corner us into not being able to access or do things. It just feels like ever more encroaching. And again, like you said, this is a huge overreach to encroach even more, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, again, like this is starting with Sony Music, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sony PlayStation, Sony Computer Games is kind of right there in the wing, seeing how this turns out, as well as a lot of other companies, because this is something that I see a lot of companies being able to do. I kind of mentioned that thing with like, you know, EA and stuff like that. I mean, you think about like other ideas. Like I was kind of use the example of like, hey, let's say like companies, if there's, you know, like whatever your social political leaning is, right? it allows a way that if a company feels that to be something that they don't align with, or it's costing them money in a certain way, or they're just vehemently opposed from it from an ideological standpoint, this allows them the agency to further reduce your access, like beyond just your immediate interaction with them. They say they can go to your internet provider and say this IP address needs to be terminated, because I don't like their expressions or ideas on A, B, and C, or I don't like the way they've conducted. And obviously, if someone's doing bullying or different things like that, or like really kind of like insensitive types of things, there's other methods of which to deal with that. Again, it could be just restricting them from your platform, restricting them from
Right.
your game, restricting them from your music store. It doesn't have to be, oh, okay, and now they can't access their medical records or pay their bills. Like you have to go further. Like it's just unnecessary, you know. But
Very.
it feels like companies have
It's
so much money and influence that they can move that way, and we really need stewards and people with the interest of like the consumers to kind of like keep that stuff at bay, you know.
right. 'Cause like I was saying earlier, it's all about the steps. So say this went through and it's only about piracy, eventually it becomes about more things.
Yeah,
That's the next step.
that's
Is
the next step.
okay, we got one thing, how many things can we get?
Yeah, that they've got a Marvel like plan of phases. Okay, and this is maybe phase 2 or phase 3. You know how many phases they've got planned out, right? But
Hmm.
I try to like tell people and like keep them aware, like these companies, no matter who, like gaming companies, whatever, internet, whatever, they all they do is think about how to get more money out of you. While you're sleeping, they're thinking about how to get more money out of you. While you're spending time with your family, they're um thinking about ways to get more money out of you. You know what I'm saying? While you're being supportive or being racist, they're trying to figure out more ways to get money. It doesn't matter what you're doing. How can we get more money out of them? That's all they think about. That's all they
Constantly,
that's what they put
constantly.
all their money towards.
25/8.
Yep. Yep. So you have to be thinking about that. And so when things like this do emerge, and some people may say, "Oh, well, maybe you're overreaching. This might be a little bit too." It's not. It's not. Like years ago, we talked about the trouble and issues with um loot boxes and how that can introduce like this behavior of gambling and addiction in younger kids. And the sentiment was, well, these are mostly in games that are either for mature people or for everyone, right? And then we hear, I forgot how many weeks ago it was, but not long ago, the CEO of Roblox says that he would like to introduce a mechanic in a game where 80% of its player base are kids.
Right.
Like this is how it begins, and so you have to be alert and aware and try to push against this stuff because, like I said, they're always thinking about how to do this, and they don't care if your kids develop addiction or gambling type behaviors and habits, because one it's not their kid, and two, they make more money, they'll get more money hopefully, right? So you got to always think and be aware of this stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think like this is kind of not typically the usual topic we would have, but it has such a obvious like it will impact gaming. And especially because I think games cost more than music, guys. I'm not sure if you're aware. Uh so if they can implement this strategy in music, it very easily can be implemented in gaming and a lot of other avenues.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you have to be aware of this stuff and push back on it and kind of try to see what they're trying to get to. They aren't really clever with this type of stuff anymore. They make their plans pretty obvious, and so
Yes.
we have to stop when it comes to corporations and companies. They're not people. We have to stop assuming they have the best interests of us at heart because they don't. It's just about making more money. It's about appeasing stockholders. That's what all this is about. Um, so yeah.
I found the hack.
Hmm.
I
What's the
found the
hack?
hack. Why did I not think of this sooner? we become a major shareholder and tell them to start caring.
You know what? What is it called? I forgot what it's called, like activist shareholders or kind of like or activist investors. That's the thing. I mean, if we could, I don't know. Well, in the case of EA, they were bought and made private, right? So we can't do that with them anymore.
Correct.
And then we could maybe ask Ubisoft, but I don't believe they have they have the competence to do any of that stuff there. We'll say, hey, we don't want you to exploit people. And they're like, wait, you want Far Cry 8? And that's not what we said at all. No, we don't want it, and that's not what we said.
No.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if there's a way that we could do that to spend, I mean, that would be the hope, right? I mean, the hope would be that you would just have rationally, reasonably moral people running companies. That would be like, that's a bad precedent to set. But that ain't happening. So like you said, it would be great if we could just swoop in and say, I'd like to buy 1 billion Ubisofts. And then and then they're like, I'm sorry, what? This doesn't even make any sense. I want to buy 1 billion Ubisofts. I'm sorry, you mean shares? And then say, hi, now you cannot be exploitative. I mean, from a money standpoint on our side, that would not be wise, because their valuation would immediately drop and all the money we just spent would melt away. Because it would be like Ubisoft has, in a weird in a weird turn of events, Ubisoft just had an influx of $1 billion and was told by their major shareholder to stop making games. And it's kind of like, what? It's like, yes, we thought it was the most ethical thing that Ubisoft not make
buy them out just to shut them down. Like,
exactly. I want to buy 1 billion Ubisofts. What do you want to do with it? Shut it down.
Close it.
Yeah. And we can you know what? It'd be great. We do that, right? With that being the plan, and then we take whatever all this other obviously like theoretical billions that we have, and we give we give like maybe I don't know $250,000 to Gordon Ramsay, and just have him walk throughout the Ubisoft headquarters, and he's just yelling, "Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!" You know what I'm saying? That would be fantastic. And we might be able to raise money to do that. People, let us know. Do you want that to happen? All you got to do is just give us $1 billion. Let's raise $1 billion to buy Ubisoft and Gordon Ramsay, so that we can shut it down and have him yell, "Shut it down," as we do it.
Scout's honor. That's where all the money goes to.
That's where all the money goes to. We take
no part in it.
We're not going to take. Exactly. We're not going to take any of it. I mean, I may have a beard, but I'm not the completionist. You know what I'm saying? David may have a beard, but we're not the completionists. We're not going to say we're getting money and then not use it. We're going to use it to buy Ubisoft and Gordon Ramsay and shut it down. Perfect. And we should give him, like, what was that one episode where the guy had like this big thing of like refried beans? We should just have a big pot of refried. Here you go, Gordon. And action. We tape it, we film it, we post it everywhere. We create an account and post just that video. And it just starts, and it's just Gordon walking in with a big pot of refried beans into Ubisoft headquarters, and you have the greeter there like, "Can I help you?" Boom, shut it down, and he just walks around and kills it. It'd be fantastic.
If this somehow gets to like a Big Show network and they make like a SNL skit about it, I want money for it. I'm calling
exactly.
I'm patenting, copywriting.
Yeah. Intellectual property of thought and players.
That is a word right there.
Exactly, because this is an excellent idea, both in reality and theoretically. It is a great idea. I think we can do it. I think we can raise it, Bill. I think we can. Yeah. I think we can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we got it. Was there anything else we wanted to kind of talk about or add to this topic?
I don't think so. We've gotten so deep in it. We've veered so far off topic. Like, we've this soup has been mixed.
It has.
This is a very mixed soup.
Very mixed soup. Yeah, I agree. All righty. Well, that means that we're near the end of the podcast, which means it's time for final thoughts. We can offer a final thought about anything that is related or unrelated to this podcast episode. So, who wants to give a final thought first?
My final thought is, while I do love Fragpunk, it has been said that there's been a lot of AI work on it. So I refuse
Mm,
to put any money into it because
yeah.
like I'll do like the battle passes on Rivals, right?
Hmm.
And that's pretty much it. This one I won't. I've put a hard cap on it. Like, come on. Like there's NetEase, you obviously are doing very well. You got the Marvel Rivals, you got the game that you were talking about, we got this one, and who knows however
Hmm.
many more games. Like just have somebody make it.
Yeah. 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 I think they're have they like they've since like I don't know if they've apologized for that stuff. I know that was the issue with I don't think it was in the full release version, but I think in the Anno 11 Pax Roma 117, the new Anno that came out, there
Mm-hmm.
was a loading screen that had some AI art in it that was supposed to be just a placeholder, but it ended up, I think, making it into the launch or the beta or something like that. And everyone was like, "Hey, what's this? This is AI slop. We can tell." And they were like, "We're sorry, we didn't mean it. We're gonna replace it." And they're like, "Yeah, you better."
Yeah, you better. See, I like that though. Hey, what the heck?
Yeah, yeah. Um, my final thought is kind of a rethink, and this is kind of inspired by we had a comment on our last level
Okay.
where someone talked about the Steam machine just kind of being like Apple, right? I have like their comment picked up over here. A
Interesting.
mediocre machine that you won't be able to repair yourself or upgrade yourself unless Steam sells their components separate. You'll need to send it to them to fix, and most likely for the price you can either pre-build or just build your own with similar or slightly better specs. And that's actually something that I have been thinking about in the wake of me further analyzing my thoughts and kind of my excitement about the Steam machine.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like these things that have come out that, like, hey, the Steam machine is going to be more in a PC pricing standpoint than a console pricing standpoint. And it was kind of like, well, that makes it less interesting because there is a probability that I could probably build my own, let's say ITX, right? A super small system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that may cost me a little bit more, but it'll also have more performance and will be totally customizable. I know there's some elements in the Steam machine. I think the RAM and possibly something else that is soldered, and it makes sense for how they build it, but that is an issue of repairability, right? And Apple does this all the time. Like they intrinsically make their machines um harder to fix yourself so you can send it in to people to repair and they can increase the price of the parts and different things like that to make it more proprietary.
Right.
um so I think that was a compelling thought, and my kind of thinking was like, well, yeah, if I guess like that's the other option. We have to see where the price comes in for it, how competitive it's going to be. If it's in that, I think we were kind of saying, between $400 to $600 range, it may be priced aggressively enough and convenient enough where it's worth the risk of not having that. But if we're talking 600 plus for a Steam machine, even like a base model, then I'm gonna be like, I'll just build an ITX system. Even though some pricing for things is crazy right now, like RAM
Yeah,
pricing
RAM
is
is through the roof right now.
insane, because of all these data centers and AI, yay. But yeah, it's more of a it's not so much of a surefire thing than originally kind of my original impression of it was. So
Right.
we'll have to see where that goes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I hope it goes in a good direction.
Yeah.
But straight up, just from the beginning, saying it's probably priced more towards like a PC. Okay, but you're trying to get into the game system universe.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe price it that way.
yeah, like it makes it to me. I mean, unless I don't know anything, and again, I am a functioning idiot, but it makes less sense to me for Steam to get into the pre-build market than it does to get into the console market, because there's so many different boutique and large pre-built PC makers. You may think, well, all the console makers are big, and it's like, yes, but they all have oversights, and they either practice aggressive anti-consumerism, or they're pricing themselves out of relevancy, or they're horribly incompetent. And I think we all know which one I'm talking about, that one there.
Just a
So,
little bit.
So I feel like, yeah, even though the established players are much bigger, there's more of a gap there of which Steam can fill the void for compared to doing pre-builds. So, but we'll have to see exactly what, eventually what they come out with,
Right.
Yeah. That is my final thought.
All
And that
right.
leads us to the end of level 147 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, and share the podcast on your preferred socials and podcast networks. Listen here, or whatever things you listen on. We are on the Spotify, we are on the Apples, and all the other ones as well. If you want to support us, there's a couple of ways you can do that. One, buy merch. Look at this beautiful, almost like brand new Thoughts and Players case that I have here that you can get from our Teespring store. It is saved a multitude of drops.
Honestly, it looks like it's done
that.
well.
It's done very well. And this is the MagSafe version, so you can actually clip your magnetic charger or anything like that too. That we have versions of that too, so you can grab that there. Obviously, we got shirts, different things like that. We also have a Patreon. We've redesigned the Patreon. We have a $2 Patreon, and what that does is that gets your name in the end credits of our video uploads of our podcast to YouTube. It gets you on the podcast, the Patreon feed. Sometimes we put up like different polls or stuff there that you can check out. And it's just a way kind of to support us in that way, and we deeply appreciate it. Those are a couple ways you can support us. That is it for me. David, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Peace.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next level.